Hello, summer mathematicians. Welcome to our first video lesson. Today we are focusing on the foundations of multiplication. Our learning target for today is I can solve multiplication word problems. Our success criteria: connect repeated addition to multiplication, draw a mile to represent a multiplication problem, and write a multiplication equation. We're also going to be focusing on some key vocabulary. So repeated addition is also another way of doing multiplication. In multiplication, we have two factors, and the answer to multiplication sentence is a product. We also work on focusing on those equal groups and objects. We also can have an array with rows and columns. Some other models that we can use are tape diagrams, equal groups. We have the repeat additions of a key vocabulary, and some skip counting. On the right side is a strong model. This is a model you can use for future reference when you're working on those other tasks that are in your pacing tracker. So for our strong model today, we have Samantha, who has 3 baskets with 4 apples in each basket. How many apples does Samantha have altogether? So for my model, I did equal groups. I also did skip counting. I have my repeat addition sentence. You can see my multiplication equation. And I have my final sentence, which says Samantha has 12 apples altogether. You can use this later on when you're working on those other activities so that you can have a strong model to refer back to and make sure you're focusing on those key details about how we do multiplication. All right, let's begin. Our first problem for today, we're going to focus on repeat addition. So our problem is that a garden has 4 rows of 6 plants. We need to represent this problem using a model, a repeat addition equation, and multiplication equation. So first we're going to use our RDW process, read, draw, write, and we're going to annotate our problem. So it says a garden has 4 rows of 6 plants. I know right now I need to underline 4 rows. As a reminder, whatever I write, you write. So make sure you underline as I do it. 4 rows, and there are 6 plants. If I see rows, that means I'm using an array. An array has those rows and columns. So a row, as a reminder, goes from right to left, and a column goes up and down. So for my model, I want to draw those rows and have those plants in those rows. So I'm going to draw my model here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just using some circles. Those are my 4 rows. And if I have 6 plants, that means I have 6 in a row. So I'm going to go 6 across. I already have 1 so far in each row, so I'm going to draw 5 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are my 4 rows with 6 in each row. So for my repeat addition, this is me adding multiple times the same number. So I had 4 rows of 6. I'm going to add 6 4 times. So 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals question mark. Because I know I see a lot of doubles, I'm going to do my doubles facts. 6 plus 6 is 12. Another 6 plus 6 is 12. Add that together. 12 plus 12 equals 24. And last, I'm going to do my multiplication equation. So multiplication equation, it already kind of wrote it for me. It has 4 rows of 6 plants. I'm going to write as I say it, and instead of doing rows, I'm going to use a multiplication sign, which is our x. So 4 rows of 6. We already know from repeat addition that equals 12. Not 12, I'm so sorry. It equals 24. And then I also know with that commutative property multiplication, which we'll focus on about a week or so, I can flip those 2 factors. So our 2 factors, or 4 and 6, those are 2 numbers. I can flip them. They're going to swap places. So I'm going to do 6 times 4 equals 24. I can write either one. So I'm going to write the word or in there. That's as if we take this model that we made and we just flip it on its side, and where we have 6 rows of 4. So right now, there's going to be a question that pops up on Nearpod. You're going to answer it about what expressions we could use to represent our problem here. Make sure to go back and use our guided notes to help you answer that question, and I'll see you in a moment. All right, so for that question, you should have said the correct answers were 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6. We could also did 4 times 6 or 6 times 4. All right, good job. Let's move on to the next one. All right, now we have an array. I know it's an array because it is in rows and it has columns. Here are rows again, here are columns, but there's no problem for us to solve. There will be one a little bit with your Nearpod question, but first, I just want to know how many rows do I have, how many columns. So make sure whatever I write, you write. So I'm going to count my rows, then I'm going to go and count my columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 rows, and I'm going to count my columns going across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I know earlier we talked about arrays. We have rows and columns. We multiply it together. So I can do 5 times 8. And I can just count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. I counted by 5s for 8 times, and I got my answer, which was 40. I know I can flip it, and I can say 8 times 5 equals 40. And if I don't know counting by 5s, don't know my 8s, can't skip count, I can also, because I have my model here, I can count each square one by one until I get to a total of 40. So now I have a Nearpod question. It's going to ask you what is an expression or equation that we could use to solve for this problem. There's going to have a missing unknown number. Use your notes, what we just wrote, to help you answer that question, and I'll see you in a second. All right, welcome back. So from that problem, you should have gotten the correct answer, which was blank times 8 equals 40. Even though we were having that 5 that was missing, because we already did our multiplication equations on our model and on your guided notes, you could use that to help you answer that question. We did all the work before, and now we could easily find that unknown factor. All right, we're almost done, y'all. Last one. So now it is time for our quick check. I know you're ready for it. I'm going to read the problem to you. You will need to show your work and solve on your guided notes and answer the question that comes up on Nearpod before I review it with you. Here's your problem. A chef made 2 pizzas. Each pizza was cut into 8 slices. How many slices of pizza are there in all? All right, now solve it and answer the question in the video. All right, let's get ready to check your work. So for our model, I'm also going to do my RDW. So a chef made 2 pizzas. Each, it's one of our keywords, was cut into 8 slices. How many slices of pizza are there in all? So for my model, I'm going to just use equal groups. So I'm going to draw 2 large circles. That's for my 2 pizzas. And I know each pizza is going to be cut into 8 slices. I'm just going to do dots for mine. Whatever model you use is totally fine as long as it looks somewhat similar to mine. So here's my model. 2 pizzas, 8 slices in each. A multiplication equation. That's pretty simple. I had 2 pizzas, 8 slices in each. 2 times 8 equals 16. Or I can also flip it and do 8 times 2 equals 16. Also, if you did that so far, you're doing great. And for our sentence, I'm going to say how many slices of pizza there are in all. I'm just going to restate that question. So there are 16 slices of pizza in all. And that's pretty much it. So all you have to do in the Nearpod question is answer the question, which was 16. If you got that right, awesome. Kudos to you. That's pretty much it for today. Let me go ahead and go to our last slide. Congrats, you're done. So refer back to your pacing tracker, our summer pathway of success, for your next task. I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye y'all.